Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Annassa. We'll wait and get everybody in here. So happy to see you this morning. Yes. Mm. Let's meditate. Okay, so take your attention inside. And one shift we want to make this morning is to bring your attention immediately to the third eye behind the eyebrows and a little above and way back in the back of the head. If you feel into your palate, hard palate, where it meets the soft palate, just above that is the third eye. Take your attention there and hold it there for the entire meditation. Because what we want to focus our attention on is where we want to live from rather than anything else. So we're going to hold our attention in the third eye and directly above, which is the top of the head, so that we are uniting as much as possible with our own divinity, which is connected to universal divinity. And with that, I'm going to be quiet because we can still circulate the energy with our breath and hold our attention in the third eye at the same time. And balancing that takes all our attention. But understand that because we are in community, our energy and your energy becomes blended, and the meditation is much easier. So, with that, we'll be quiet for a few minutes and let's all just feel into the third eye and above and concentrate on union with the all of the all that is. So I'm going to add that expanding our awareness does not mean expanding our energy field. As we meditate, we want to pull in our energy so that our energy is motivated toward increasing the intensity of our connection with divinity. And anything that happens as that intensity begins to ramp up, the best thing to do is deeply relax and trust that whatever has been attracted in the context of this field is in our highest best interests, because we are all connected to our highest best interests and the highest best interest of the whole, which is another description for Annassa. So pull your energy into your central channel. Because we are harnessing this energy in order to connect personally to the impersonal. much better. Holding your attention inside. Very slowly open your eyes. Welcome to Conversations with Annassa. We're so happy to be with you today. How is everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am so happy to be with everyone today, see everyone. I have really missed this. And I'm so happy that you're fine, or relatively fine.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Prayers answered.
Yes, thank you. And all appreciated. It was really right for me to take 2 weeks off, not because I was sick in any way, but because I needed to rest and be quiet and feel into a bit different way of being. And I don't have a lot to say about that because it's not exactly about words, maybe about priorities. But even those haven't fully articulated themselves. So it's just a different, reorienting toward my own inner work. And I think that's something we all should be doing always, because everything is in context to how that is evolving within us. And we're each responsible for our own evolution. There's nobody else who can do that for us. There are people who can, access guidance. But ultimately, it's about accessing our own guidance and really respecting our own inner so much that it begins to inform us about what's best to keep us growing. It's not about anybody else or getting anybody else's attention or, even their words and energy, because it's ultimately how we use our own energy that defines what happens when we die. So we've been sitting with all of that. And, quite clearly in dealing with this whole personal event, it's all about maximizing vitality at the expense of longevity. That's the priority for me personally. Because who cares about longevity if I can't do the things that really make a difference to the quality of my life? Then longevity has no value. So, with those priorities in mind, because of course the whole cancer institution is about maximizing longevity. And so if you personally run into this, any of these issues yourself, and breast cancer is now 1 in 5 women. So since COVID, it's become much worse. And I don't know anybody who didn't get COVID at some point. Which is not, I mean, it's not bad news. We're all going to die of something. And at some point, what we have a choice about is what we do between now and then, and how we do it, and what we care about most in doing that. And life will challenge us in those decisions. So I made another change that I'm not sure I'd made by the last time I saw you, and that is I do Pilates almost every day because it's really been boosting my vitality, my strength, and my mobility all. And that's very important as we age, to be vital, strong, and flexible. So in many ways for me, it's been about making sure that I'm really walking the talk, you know, and being totally open about having breast cancer is also part of that, because I think that secrets inspire a kind of closeness that I'm just not willing to entertain. And, ultimately, the reason we keep secrets is out of shame or fear or some other, thing that has to do with other people. And who cares? I mean, we're all old enough that who cares what anybody else thinks? It's really about us and our relationship to our deepest inner. So that's my story. What do you want to know? How can we help? Yes.
Hey, it's good to be here.
Yeah, it's good to see you. How are
That
you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm working through some little health issues, and my husband had his back out for almost 2 weeks, and our favorite Dr. Bonner helped him out yesterday.
Oh, good. He comes
Took a
highly
bit of
recommended.
talking. It took a bit of talking to get him there.
Well,
And
maybe
he's
that's the whole reason that everything happened.
oh, it's so true, isn't it? Oh my God. So he was like, "Well, thank you."
Wow, that's pretty great.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Yeah. But I did want to mention that nice meditation this morning. My body was a little confused and it took a bit. And all of a sudden, there was this lovely opening. And after a bit of a while, I felt my hands come on board and then I felt my feet come on board. And what a how lovely to simplify um, things in life. Just get rid of the complications
Yes. So focus on what we really want,
Yeah,
which is that connection to the upper two chakras. Forget about the rest.
it was really lovely. I just thank you. It was a very nice experience. Just I needed that, so it was good. Thank you. Nice to be here, folks.
Yes, it's great to have your confirmation. It means a lot
Ah,
because it's a very similar experience. Focus on what's important and forget about the rest.
yes, yes. So I needed that, and thank you. Nice to be here.
Mhm, mhm.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good, yeah. And I too am very happy to be back here with you and with you all. Um, not sure how to phrase the question. As you just pointed out, what we really want at the end of the day is that the connection with the deep inner, I think you called it. And I the question is about wanting on a kind of a more mm, worldly relative level, because it's clear to me that um, I need to be more intentional in my life, in my day-to-day life. I need that focus in order to manifest, almost reluctant to use that word, but to create the kind of life that I want to live. And I have trouble knowing what I want on that level. I mean, I want to be happy. I want to be at peace. I want to feel love. Um, but even, step it, I can't, you see the question there?
So one of the things we're seeing is that one of the ways to experience love in this life that's very available to all of us in this culture is to have an animal and take responsibility for that animal. And in doing that, you naturally come into alignment with the physical world because the animal is basically physical need. And we can begin to recognize what our own physical needs are and what our distractions, which are just samskaras, are about. And we can let go of a lot of those distractions by focusing our attention in meditation twice a day for at least a half hour and focusing on what it is we really, really want instead of all the distractions that try to come up and fill that space. And when we focus on really what we want very intentionally, that union within ourselves is non-negotiable. We have to have it. When we focus our meditation in that way, it takes on a whole different power in our lives. But having another being that you're responsible for and that you experience love with adds another dimension that we think might be helpful for you. It's worth considering. And we know you've experimented with it some in the last couple of years. And we don't know how that's been for you, but we do know that having another loving being, and for animals, they're never disconnected from that love, unless they've been so severely traumatized that, you know, they're no longer even in touch with their animal nature. That can happen, but not an animal that you would attract, we think. And so this is a way to fulfill that to a certain extent in yourself, and also to ground yourself by having to get up at a normal time, feed an animal, be present, you know, serve that love, meditate, like actually organize your life around, you know, what it is you really want to accomplish, which is this deep inner work. But if you don't have some structure that you've self-imposed, it's not going to happen. And, you know, that's very difficult. As you know, even when you live in a structure that has a structure that you can put yourself into, it's still hard. So, not having that, you have to create your own structure and set alarms and do what's really important to you. And the rubber hits the road every time one of those alarms goes off, because you have to decide, am I going to pay attention to that, or am I going to be distracted into this? And then your priorities really become clear to you. And then you have to own your priorities. And if you can't own them, you have to have the conversation with yourself. Nobody can do this for you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Does it land in any way? Can you take it in and actually act on it? That's what we're asking.
Yeah. The imposing the structure um, is straightforward. It's not easy. I the way that my life is now, um, I actually do get up early every day and meditate. And then so there's a lot of clarity and openness early in the day, and then it's sort of you know there's a definite downhill slope as I get on later in the day. Um,
What
and,
if you add some service in there? Service to whatever environment you're in, or, you know, you don't have to get complicated about it. You can do the dishes, and then there's some flow in you. You can clean the house, you can go shopping for somebody else. You can do things that move your energy in ways you're not used to. Does that make sense? Because you have to disrupt this downward cycle. You have to disrupt it by doing completely unexpected things inside yourself to have a different experience. And yeah, there'll be enormous resistance.
when you say unexpected, I mean new and different. Yes, I get that. I don't think I can surprise myself every day, you know.
You can, of course you can. That's what you want to do. You want to surprise yourself by doing something unexpected for somebody else and seeing how that feels.
Hmm.
You have the luxury of doing that.
I do.
You do one thing, and it doesn't have to be big. It can be, doing the dishes. It can be going shopping and buying something for somebody else. Just, just, it can be really simple, and it doesn't have to be expensive. It's the gesture inside yourself and experiencing that outflow towards somebody else with no expectation of return. This will begin to change something fundamental in you. One thing every day. And, not to the same person, to different people. And, having an animal to exchange love with so that you are focusing on love with a being that doesn't have a choice about focusing on love is love. That can also be really add a rich dimension to your life.
My recent experience with animals was three cats in Hawaii, and they were, a litter born to a feral mother. Um, they were orphaned. And so they were always two of them were didn't like to be touched that much. And one of them was kind of a nuisance, that she always seemed to want something from me. And so I knew she loved me, but I didn't, what I experienced was the meowing that sounded demanding all the time. Um, and so it sounds like what you're talking about is a dog, which is a completely different.
Well, it could be, but how did you work with the inability to handle touch? There are ways to be very, very gentle and heal that with the animal by, being slow, patient, and available. And so the learning curve in doing this is not short. But we also suggest that you don't start with the most traumatized out there. And feral is pretty drama and trauma, oriented. And so in order to address that, it requires some practice and teaching. It's not something that exactly comes naturally unless you're a natural nurturer. And we don't think that's your orientation. Yeah. So what we're looking for is something easier. I mean, dogs require a lot of attention, but they give a lot of affection.
Right. I get that.
So, and thing is, once invested, you can't just walk away.
Yes. Commitment.
Yeah. But it's a commitment to love, and any love is a commitment to learning about love in yourself. That's why we're suggesting it. But not something to be done lightly or at the suggestion of somebody else. It's something that has to feel right to you because it's your commitment. It's just a suggestion of, how to enter that field in a way that you're really building flow with another being.
Mm.
And it's a lot easier than relationship. So it's a suggestion, it's not a requirement, which is true of everything we say, because if we made it a requirement, then we would be taking responsibility for that. We're not interested in that. We're interested in making suggestions that will help you with your responsibility to yourself.
Mm.
And so they are suggestions to create flow within you in certain channels that will help you develop in the path of love. Because that's another way of expressing the connection to divinity that we're all after. And so we can use our worldly life to participate in that experience further. And it's not a distraction from our inner work, but an expression of it.
Yeah.
And Seva done just for the experience of what flow it creates is the purest way to do it. And the only way structure is going to work for you is if you embrace it. Nobody can do that for you. And as you've learned, no environment can do that for you either. But understanding that when you get up and meditate first, that really helps. So now the key is, how do you sustain that and build on it through your day?
Right.
So that's what your real question is. How to sustain it and build on it. We're giving you some suggestions.
Mm.
You do something for somebody else and see what that feels like. And maybe sometimes it'll just make you tired. And other times it feels wonderful because you did something that created flow. And so it's all about experiencing flow and what that is. That's what being in this plane is about. God knows the world has very few role models at this point. Good morning.
So good to see you and everyone.
Yeah, so good to be here.
Um, it's been an interesting few weeks for me. A really large challenge, an interesting challenge, bringing up all kinds of things for me to see and work on myself. I find that external circumstances are the lesson bringers for me, of course. This one is an interesting one. Our resident handyman has been becoming more and more of a distraction, problem. He's a lovely person with not a spiritual practice. He respects that this place is kind of a center for that, for us and others. but he's got a severe case of ADHD, and he does drugs and alcohol, and has been, as far as I can see, struggling greatly. And advice and my own impulse at first was to ask him to leave. And after meditating and consulting the I Ching and consulting our wonderful niece, I got some clarity that this is for me to examine my own attention deficit hyperactivity internally, and actually allow the process coming from love and a desire to be of use. When you said we've had animals all our lives, the two of us, all kinds of animals. We don't right now. And in a way, this person requires attention, is kind of feral, and has the qualities that one would need to respond in a way that's still loving and not cutting someone off as hopeless is really important for me right now. Everything is included. When you have said that, it's all welcome. We have a joke where this little boy has wished for a pony for his birthday, and what he's given is a task to clean out the pile of manure in the barn. And as he's doing it, he's very happy because he says, there must be a pony in here somewhere. And it really is words to live by. It's kind of like, okay, you've got this really challenging situation, and I didn't know. My first impulse was to confront directly, and my inner advice, my inner guides and my outer guides said, no, first you become centered and clear and allow whatever needs to be said or done to flow from there. And I'm still in process, and we'll see where it goes. But I feel much more relaxed and not so intent on solving a problem. I feel like I am a problem solver at heart. I mean, give me you've got mice in your house. Well, okay, let's do this, let's do that. Your drain is clogged. Okay, I've got things. And so that part of me is like almost, well, it has a chance to be hyperactive. And the attention deficit is when I'm meditating, seeing how much my thoughts take me here, there, and everywhere. And I know that that's a kind of a universal experience, but I really do want to be able to, like today's meditation was better than a lot of my meditations, which I do regularly. But what I got today was that my attention is kind of like a spotlight, a small, intense spotlight that I can move. In this case, it was to the third eye and above, um, and it steadies me. And I realize that also, in order to handle any kind of external challenge, I need to come from the inner clarity. I don't know what the question is, but I know that I'm still learning about how to do this. Do it in a way that's actually useful, because I see the larger implication. This is what I need to do for myself, and also the world needs to be able to. I mean, everything would work a whole lot better if we didn't have attention deficit hyperactivity, and the the way through. I'm not sure how this process is going to go, but it feels way better than last week. Oh, I was just really upset enough so that I couldn't even meditate. Um, and it's so good to be here and have another way to ground myself, uh, and to, well, it's about being gentle with myself and others. So that's mostly a report, but it's also, I have a question about how to proceed in the way that's going to be of most benefit, for everything. So thank you for listening, and I will now listen. And I'm plugging you back in.
So the first thing we have to say is that the whole point of the meditation was focus concentration, and that's what we need to bring to our meditation if we want to expect any result. And so you got the point. That's what we're saying. And this is really right in line with how we started today. And so we're grateful for that. Now, when people in our lives, when things get messy for them, the first question is, what do they really want from you? And you have to be very discerning in seeing the difference between what's wanted and what's needed, and what the capacity is to take in, and where you think that can go. Those three things all have to be addressed within you if you take on another person and their complexity as they go through change. When people are in escape mode, which is what drugs and alcohol are about, or self-medicating mode, both of those things, then they become more impulsive and less responsible for their behavior. And so you have to kind of weigh where they are and what that is. And do you really have the tools to deal with somebody in that, is that where you're going to put your energy? And can you be effective there? And so these are all important questions that you have to use your attention to sort out. And are drugs and alcohol like a passing thing, or is that what this person does as soon as they get away from the environment? These are important observations to make. Do they come to the environment inebriated or under the influence of some substance? Then they're not really safe in your environment, working with power tools or things like that. So all of this stuff, it's on a spectrum, and the knee jerk, oh, this is too complex, is a knee jerk reaction. Or, I don't want to deal with this, that's a knee jerk reaction. But on further reflection and really looking, and you really look, can you serve in a way that's going to be helpful to this person, or are they out of your range? That's the first question you have to ask. And you have to answer it honestly. And we all want to be helpful, and there's situations where we can be more effective than others. And so are we in a situation where we can really serve it? That's the question you have to ask. So, and I know there are people on this call who have more experience with addiction medicine than we do. So if there's anything to add, we welcome that, because addiction is a really difficult issue. And it's even difficult to identify whether that's what you're dealing with. And ADHD is a whole spectrum. Those are it's just a label. It has a different meaning for every person who gets that label. And sometimes they're savants. They're people that are brilliant in one area and completely off the charts in terms of behavior in other areas. I mean, it's such a wide spectrum disorder. Doesn't mean anything. Really doesn't mean anything. And if this person is a perfectly good handyman, what do you care what they do when they're not around? I mean, there is that. So it's the whole spectrum of that. And do you want to get involved? And if you're already involved, then how deeply do you want to get involved? And, that's all the issues there. So we'll leave that. And
One of the things that I have to say is that he was a perfectly good handyman, and now he's not so much. He forgets things, he leaves things, he doesn't finish things. It's showing up in his work. And he's becoming more difficult to guide. I mean, he'll decide that he wants to do such and such when I've asked him to do this other thing. And um, there's an upside and a downside to everything. His energy seems boundless at times, and that's a good thing in a worker. But the feeling of he takes responsibility for this place and the upkeep, which is good, but he goes off on his own tangents. So what I don't want to say, I've been trying to rein him in, but that's sort of what it is. It's like a wild horse, and you're trying to get it to go in a certain direction. And that came to a head last week, my inability to do that. So I'm taking your words seriously. Is it beyond me? And I guess I will have to wait and see. I I had the jumping to conclusions at first, which is, oh, this will never work. We've got to undo this relationship and allow him to be on his way. But at this point, I'm adopting a more let's be personally clear first and open-minded. and then see what guidance comes. See what the moment brings. Yesterday, I had a conversation with him and introduced the idea that this is a sacred space. And so drugs and alcohol are not really part of that. I mean, we all take a little sacramental marijuana every once in a while, but we're not drugged. And that that has to be respected. And so there were guidelines that I presented, and he seemed open to it. So we have to see. And possibly this could be a healing place for him. I don't know. I really would like it to be a sanctuary for the people who come here. Um, and myself, I have work to do as well. So it's a sanctuary for me as well, to learn and to become more connected with the all that of all that is. Um, as you put it, I was studying that in my meditation. That is really a good way of putting it. Um, anyway, and we're preparing for our death. We just got our cremation arrangements set up. So all of that is coming to the fore. We're definitely we're not just floating along. We're dealing with what's in the environment in the midst and what's needed to be done. So anyway, I really hear you, and I will be more aware of what it is that my capacity for assisting anyone it would be. I'm not sure in this case whether I'm up to the task, but like I say, there's a real benefit in waiting and working on my own inner clarity before making any moves at all. So thank you for reinforcing that. Um,
So we recommend that you have a zero tolerance policy for drugs and alcohol because it's too dangerous to have a handyman that would do that on your property. And so, it creates a liability issue for you also. So we recommend you be very clear about that while you attempt to identify what's possible and what's desirable. And, we've just seen the whole spectrum of, total impossible addiction to, people who cope very well and don't really have something unmanageable in their lives. We've seen the whole spectrum. And it doesn't mean we're good at recognizing it. We are good at recognizing that it's not an arena where we can be effective. And so, we appreciate the people who do that work and how responsible and dedicated they are and what it takes, but we are not skilled in that arena and know it. So we don't try to go very deep with people who really have problems. And so it's a big judgment call and a difficult one. It's not easy, especially when you've been cultivating a relationship that's clearly been helping the person. So it may be that it's been there all along, or it may be a new thing, but it's not welcome in your environment. that you have to be clear about. And what you guys do in your private life is nobody's business, and I wouldn't share it. And I wouldn't leave a level of tolerance in there that other people know about, just because it's not helpful if you're trying to create boundaries, and you really need to create boundaries with this person. Does that make sense?
Totally.
This
And
is-
yeah. All right. Well, I hope to have good news.
yes, yeah, and so do we. So do we. Our experience makes me not so optimistic and cautious. So
I know.
that's where
Yeah.
that's coming from. Yeah.
Yes, we've had other people's experience uh, has shown us the limitations, um, which are quite intense. Um, so we'll see. But the setting the guideline that the zero tolerance here is, yeah, very clear. Um, yeah. So yes, thank you so much, and thank you all for listening, because it's a very strange, interesting new um happening here on the farm.
Mhm. So we're going to add one more thing, and that is that personally, at different periods in Rebecca's life, there were people who were extremely, like, beyond imagination generous with their time and energy in helping to create a path forward internally. And without that, it wouldn't have happened at critical moments. And, more than once, not, and more than one person. And so at the same time, we don't want to underestimate the impact that we can have in critical moments in somebody who truly wants to change. And so the linchpin here is, where are they in themselves, and what do they want from their life? Are they seeking a better life? Or are they, floating through and, kind of sucking on what's available in the moment? And so this is very difficult to judge and requires some experience. And all we can have is gratitude for the people who invested in us, and so, and understand and really, really share that without that, we would not be here in this moment. And extraordinary, extraordinary service people did for us, beyond imagination. And having experienced that, there's no other response but gratitude and the willingness to do same. And it's very hard to see. It's very hard to see.
I have I understand what you're saying, and we have often said we would not be where we are now without the immense assistance of so many sources. Um, some that we became part of a school. We've done workshops, we've had counselors. Um, it's been extraordinary. And as you said, this person has said many times that he's learning so much by being here. Um, he said the other day that he's realizing that he has a future. And that's really big. I understand. So there, like you said, it's hard to judge whether the person is so deeply into the stuff, the stuckness, that they couldn't move. This person is there's possibilities. And if we could be of any service, that's what we'd like. We wouldn't have chosen this particular challenge, but if it presented itself to us, and there's always a pony in there for us.
Yes. And our cats are dead now.
Yeah, our cats have aged out. Our
Mhm.
chickens were preyed upon.
Mhm.
Our animals have gone away. We have lovely visitors, squirrels and birds and butterflies and all kinds of things. We've got animals that I adore. I feel like they're my babies. But anyway, yeah, we've outgrown the pets. But at this point, it would be a little bit much to do that for us, but we've enjoyed it, and we do recommend th- having this being around. And every single animal was different, required and gave different things. Um, I'm looking at my sister right now, and we know. Um, anyway, so good luck to Wally. Well, if you decide to go that route, there is a lot of reward to that. Anyway, love you all.
Mhm. Yes. Mm.
Well, I just wanted to talk about your Ollie for a minute. So, Wally.
Uh-huh.
Now, Wally, you don't know this, I don't think, that Rebecca and Andrew have the sweetest dog that they adopted. And this guy, Ollie, he, when you walk in the door, he's there and he makes you smile. There isn't one thing. Every bone in his body is just full of love. And they love him so much. It's just so it just can't help it lift your spirit and make you smile and laugh. This is like, it's such nourishment. I just had to talk about your doggy because these are really something.
He is.
You're just
Yeah,
falling over yourself in love around him. Um,
yeah, he's a total delight.
so I just wanted to let you in on a little something about animals. And also, um, a little garden is pretty sweet. And going outside and looking at the wind that blows through the trees and the little birds, it's kind of magical. And there isn't a whole muddy any effort at all. It's like all of a sudden comes right up into you. And so it's just the sweetness that goes on to notice. So that's just what I wanted to add today. So thank
That
you
is
all.
so beautiful. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Because it's really true.
I fall in love more and more, and it's absolutely going on. So
Oh yeah,
not to
especially
miss
yeah,
out, Wally. Really. So there isn't much to
yeah,
do, but just allow, just feel.
yeah. This morning was amazing. In our courtyard, we have red roses. We have Japanese peonies that are just bursting out like crazy. The red roses are bursting out, And then the irises are enormous and they're just like, whoa, breathtaking. So every direction that you turn in our little courtyard is just magic.
And your water fountain that
And
the
our water
birds can
fountain.
come to.
And the birds that come to it, we have hummingbirds in the front in our little garden in the front, our hideaway.
Yeah, even
And
putting up a hummingbird feeder is pretty astonishing.
yeah, we have two hummingbird feeders, and then in the back we have all kinds of birds
Yeah.
that come. We have different feeders out there with it. We put in something called nuts and bugs, which attracts a lot of birds from from woodpeckers to um what else do we oh we get flickers, we get uh bush tits, lots of bush tits.
Oh, yeah, bush tits. You can hear them
And it's
coming. They
very
come in little
funny.
groups.
Yeah, Ollie gets competitive with the birds. He gets territorial. So he'll run from one feeder to the other, barking at them.
You have your own entertainment going on
We
24
do.
hours a day.
We do.
So do I. So
Yeah.
that so Wally,
So,
it's just a little taste. Thank you for today, everybody.
oh yes. I can't see the clock, so.
We
it's
got little
already
less than
coming.
10 minutes.
Okay, well, let's meditate again. I think that's the perfect ending for today. Although not everybody spoke. If you guys want to say something, I'd love to hear from you. Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
just pitch in a real quick something that's really been helping me because I have a hard time staying grounded, but I literally go out and get my bare feet on the ground. And that is, it's remarkable how much difference it can make for me. Some people, like my sister, is very earthy, so she's got that all the time. But I forget, you know,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's I highly recommend it. Feet on the ground, bare feet on the ground whenever possible.
Yeah. Agreed. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Okay, let's go into meditation. So again, focusing on the third eye and above, and our focusing all our intense desire to be in union with our own divinity. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful to be with you today. Really a delight to share. Take care. Have a wonderful time. Bye for now.